So we said that Islam is not a consequentialist religion, and we gave the analysis and the proof for that. So you may say, then wait a minute, Islam is a deontologist religion? It's ethical system? No. Why? Because remember, what was deontology? Deontology, we said that a deontologist says that the morality of an act, if it's right or wrong, depends on the act itself. There's inherent good in this act, an inherent bad. And that is independent of the consequence. So the consequence, the deontologist says, never changes the morality, the goodness, the wrongness of the act. If it's good, it's good. Doesn't matter what the result is. If it's bad, it's bad. It doesn't matter what the result is, right? This is what a deontologist would say. Islam rejects that. Islam says, wait a minute. At the same time that we said Islam is not a consequentialist religion, and we gave examples, at the same time, sometimes we have to look at the consequences. We can't completely disregard the consequences. Sometimes the consequences do change the act itself. Let me give you a few examples. For example, we mentioned lying. We said if you ask a consequentialist, is lying okay? He would say if it has a good result, it's good. If it has a bad result, it's bad. While a deontologist would say, no, lying is bad, it's not acceptable. Now, this is an objection that's usually raised against deontologists. What would you say if a murderer who has a gun or a knife in his hand, who's trying to chase an innocent person, he comes across you and he asks you, where is that victim? And you know where that victim is. Do you tell the truth here or do you lie? The deontologist, based on his theory, even though, practically he can't say tell the truth because it doesn't make sense. But based on his theory that we don't care about the consequence, we judge actions based on the act itself. A lie is a lie, it's bad. Based on his theory, a deontologist should say, you know what, tell him the truth. Don't lie, lying is bad, even though it may lead to someone being killed. Does that make sense? It doesn't make sense. Islam says no. In such situations, of course you lie. You have to lie. It's not even an option. If you tell the truth, then that's a sin because you have helped that person in committing that murder. So this shows us that Islam is not a deontologist system where, you know what, it's stubborn. It's basically like set in stone. A lie is bad, period. No. Sometimes Islam looks at the consequences, like this example. So in this example, Islam says, of course, you lie, and that lie is good. Why? Because it has a good result. So once again, we looked at the result. Another example, lying, we said, is bad, right? But what if it's lying for reconciliation? I see two people, two of my friends, they're not talking with each other. I can reconcile between them. I can make them friends again. How? I have to lie. I go to the first person and I tell him, you know what? I heard the other person, let's call them A and B. You go to A, you tell him, you know what I heard B saying? What? I heard him telling someone that I miss you, A. I wish I had my friendship back. He's such a good person. I make all this up. And then I go to B and I say the same thing. I tell him, you know what A was saying? A was saying that you're such a good person and this and that. And he was complimenting you and praising you. Once you tell them that, they say, you know what, maybe we should become friends again. So you put an end to their disagreement. You reconcile between two. Is it okay to lie in order to achieve that result? Consequentialists would say, of course, that lie is good because it has such a beautiful result. While a deontologist would say, no, don't use lies. Lies are bad. Refrain from lying. I don't care even if it's reconciliation. While when we come to Islam, we have traditions from the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam that state that it is okay for you to lie if your intention is to reconcile between two friends. It's to bring them back together. It is okay. It is acceptable. There are hadiths, al-kadhibu fil islah. And this is what's usually called a white lie. So this is another example. Shows us that Islam here is kind of consequentialist. It's looking at the result. So it's not just, judging based on the act itself. This is the second example. Let's go to the third example. The third example is regarding organ donation. Organ donation is, according to most scholars, is haram. Why? Because it involves cutting a person's body up And this is a form of disrespect. You know, when someone that's died, you can't just go cut up his body. This is a form of mutilation to that person's body, disrespect to that person's body. Other scholars have said, you know what? It's not because of that. It's because when I die, I don't own my body anymore, right? When I'm alive, this body is mine. When I die, this body isn't mine anymore. It's like an amana. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives me my body as an amana. My soul is in my body. It's using my body, as we said. So it's an amana. Once I die, it's not mine. So what gives me the right to donate something that doesn't belong to me after I die? So this is a very, very lengthy topic. I don't want to get into it, but this is what I want to mention that has to do with our class. If you ask Muslim deontologists, if we would have assumed that Islam is a deontologist religion, is organ donation okay? No. We'd ask him, what if that organ saves a human being's life? Is it okay? A deontologist tell you, no, organ donation is haram because it has these problems. While in Islam, we have certain scholars. Now, this isn't unanimous. There isn't consensus. There are some contemporary scholars who say, even though organ donation is bad, it's like a lie, but if the consequence is very good, which is saving a person's life, specifically a Muslim's life, then it becomes okay for you to donate your organ to that Muslim. And this is the fatwa of Sayyid al-Sistani. Sayyid al-Sistani says organ donation is haram. It's like a lie. But because you're saving a Muslim's life here, then it's okay for you to donate your organ after you die to that Muslim who needs your organ, who can't live without it. So this shows it that Islam is not a deontologist religion. It's rigid, you know, something is haram, it's haram forever. Something is bad, it's bad forever.